So here we're going to look at solving equations with variables on both sides. That means both sides of the equal sign. So there will be variables over here and variables over here. So here's the first example. I suggest you pause it so you can copy it down if you're trying to understand from these videos. But we have 4 and then parentheses, so 4 times x plus 2 in parentheses equals 2 times 3x plus 5 in parentheses. So maybe you already see, well, I have parentheses, do I have to distribute? And the answer is yes, that will be the first step. So the steps will be over here. The first step is to distribute wherever you see parentheses. So again, I would pause the video and write that down before you move on. But distribute where you see parentheses. So I see parentheses here, so I'll start with that. And I distribute the number that's right outside. So 4 times, remember I'm multiplying, 4 times x is just 4x. 4 times 2, that's 8. And it's a positive 8 because a positive times a positive is a positive. So I'll put a plus in between. Then equals, and I'll distribute over here. 2 times 3x, well 2 times 3 is 6. And then there's an x, so we'll attach an x there. And then 2 times 5 is 10. And both of these were positive, so my result is positive. So I will put a plus in between. So that's the first step. Very simple, easy first step. Distribute where you see parentheses. The next step is to notice that, okay, I have a variable on this side and a number, and a variable on this side and a number. I'm going to say just move everything, all the variables actually, move the variables over to the left side. Okay, so move the variables over to the left side. That's what move variable over to left side. Use addition or subtraction. So when you're moving stuff over, you're always going to be using addition or subtraction. So what do I mean by that? Well, this variable is already on the left side, so I don't have to do anything to it. I want to move this variable over to the left side. And the way I do that is by doing the opposite, just like I would when I'm solving two-step equations with moving numbers over. So here, this is a positive 6x, so I would subtract 6x. And then I would do it also to the other side, but I would do it underneath, this has an x, I would do it underneath the term that has the same variable, so minus 6x. I wouldn't subtract it from the 8 because this is 6 x's that I'm taking away, and I'm not going to take it away from just regular 8. It doesn't have any x's. So I subtract because this is positive, so I'm doing the opposite. That goes away, and then I can write down, well, 4x minus 6x, that's going to be negative 2x. I didn't do anything with the 8, so I'm going to write plus 8, and then equals, and then I didn't do anything with the 10, so I will write equals 10. And now you should snap your fingers and say, oh, look at this. I know how to solve this. This is just a regular two-step equation. So that's actually the third step. After you move the variable over to the left side, just solve the two-step equation. So I'm going to write that down. So again, I advise you to pause the video, write that down before you move on so that you can see me actually work this out. So to solve the two-step equation, you start on the side with the variable, and you work on the number that is farthest away from the variable. And that would be the 8 here. And just like I did by using addition or subtraction to move a variable over, that's what I'm doing with this number. So I have to do the opposite. So I would subtract 8 from both sides, subtract 8. That goes away, and I'm left with just a negative 2x equals, and then 10 minus 8, that's just regular 2. My last step is to undo negative 2 times x. So to undo times, I would divide. Undo multiplication with division. And I divide by the exact same sign, so the negatives 2's cancel, and I get x equals 2 divided by negative 2 is negative 1. So there we go. That's the first example. Not too bad. So you distribute wherever you see parentheses. So that's what we did here. And then move the variable over to the left side. That's what we did here. If this was a negative, we would have added 6x, and then we would have gotten a 10x over here. So be careful of that. You're always going to be using addition or subtraction. You can tell whether you're using addition or subtraction by whatever sign is here, and you do the opposite. And then solve the two-step equation. So let's write down another example, and then we will reference those steps to solve it. Again, I would pause the video, copy this down, maybe even try it on your own before you actually watch what I'm doing. It's best to pause the video and write down what I did and then watch and try and understand separately from writing. So the first step is to distribute where I see parentheses, and I see parentheses here and I see parentheses there. So let's do that. I would distribute. I would take this 3 and multiply it by the 2x to get 6x, because 3 times 2 is 6. It's positive, so I don't put a negative out here. And then I attach an x, and then 3 times negative 6. Got to be careful of that. That is negative. A positive times a negative is a negative. So negative 18. And then I'll bring down the equal sign and distribute where I see parentheses. So 9 times x, simple, 9x. 9 times negative 1 would be negative 9. So we did the first step, which was to distribute. And then we got this. So now we have a variable on the right side, a variable on the left side, and we're supposed to move the variable over to the left side, use addition or subtraction. So again, I have a positive 9x here, and I want to move it over to the left side, so I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to subtract 9x, and I'm going to subtract it from the other x term over here. So that goes away. 6x minus 9x. 6 minus 9 is negative 3, and I attach an x. Bring down the minus 18 equals, and then bring down the negative 9. And then the last step, pretty simple, solve the two-step equation. So let's do that. You start on the side with the variable. You work on the number that's farthest from the variable. So I would do the opposite to this, which means add 18, and I would do it to both sides. That goes away, leaving me with negative 3x. Bring down my equal sign. And then negative 9 plus 18, that's positive 9, because I have more positives than negatives. And then I would lastly divide by negative 3 on both sides. So that goes away, and I have, let's see, x equals 9 divided by negative 3, that is negative 3. And there we go. A positive divided by a negative is a negative. And that's all you do. Great. That's it for this video. Bye.